Welcome to the Wild Mom Podcast. We do things a little differently around here. If you're a mystic, spiritual, conscious, wild mother, then this is the podcast for you. It's time to come back to your roots, remember your divinity, and embody the wild woman within. You're here to shake up the parenting game, awaken from the matrix, and raise your new earth children to be free and energetically connected to all there is. This is your podcast to reclaim the wise and the wealthy, the intuitive, loving, and divinely feminine motherhood. Mama, welcome back to the wild. Welcome. Welcome to the first episode of the Wild Mom Podcast. I channeled this about a month ago, and I was really feeling called to build a community, to build a space where moms of like mind, like soul, who are wanting to be that wild, holistic, natural mother could come. And Creator channeled to me the Wild Mom Tribe. And I am going to be changing it from the Wild Mom community to the Wild Mom Tribe and the Wild Mom Podcast. So this is going to be like no other podcast you've ever experienced. And this is because all our episodes are live. And the reason why I felt called to do it live is because I really want to have this be an interactive experience. I want you to feel held and seen and heard in this space. I want this to feel like free coaching. I want this to feel like high level training and expansiveness, and this is what this podcast is all about. We are diving into everything from conscious parenting to breastfeeding past the age of 1. We are talking about co-sleeping and alternatives to medicating our children. We are talking about, using earth medicine and no TV before the age of 2. We are truly escaping the matrix in this podcast. We are parenting against the norm, and we are showing up as that wild, that feminine, that grounded, intuitive part of us. So I want to start off by really talking about that wild mom energy, that wild archetype, because there are so many archetypes that we can embody. And there's a reason why you came to this podcast. There's a reason why you came to this tribe. It's because somewhere deep inside of you, you are being called to awaken the wild mom archetype, the wild woman archetype, the part of you that is intuitive, that is protective, that is nurturing, that is assertive, that is that mama bear energy, and that also feels so rooted and grounded in her essence, that she has the unwavering trust and unshakable confidence to use energy healing on her kids, to take that path less traveled, to work with herbs and sound healing in order to allow our children to thrive, to spiritually develop in the best way possible, to be these new earth children they've come here to be. Part of your soul wants this, longs for this. It has been stirring within you and you've been wanting to release it. And so this is that space to do so. This is what that wild mom archetype is all about. It's about coming back to our roots. It's that assertive energy, knowing that if you are ever, or your children are ever threatened, that you protect. You don't submit, you protect. I'm currently reading the book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. And let me tell you, I am on chapter 2, so I have gotten pretty much nowhere in this book yet. And already my soul is like screaming, hell yeah. It is screaming for me to embody this more divine goddess energy. And I want to do it as a mom. I want to be able to show my daughter that feminine energy is trust, it's intuition, it's receptiveness, it is groundedness. I want to show her that that divine masculine energy is, courage, it is confidence, it is also assertiveness, it is the decisiveness. I want to show my daughter what it means to be wild. And in the book, it talks about how if you've been called to embody this wild woman, this wild mom archetype, that you will be having that longing. So I know for myself, I have been super attracted to wolves. There's some sort of attraction there, and I feel like it's a part of me. I feel that whenever I see or hear the sound of a wolf, I've come home. In my shower, there's these weird tile shapes and colors, and one looks like the shape of a wolf. And every single time I hop in the shower, my eyes just automatically go to it. And I didn't realize it had any importance until I started reading this book. And then I went to go take a shower and I was like, oh my God, it's right there in front of me. It's calling out to me. This wolf energy, this wild goddess mom energy is calling out to me. I remember one time I did a mushroom ceremony and celebration and trip, whatever you want to call it. And he was my partner or my boyfriend at the time, but now he's my husband. We decided to go up north into the bush, and we were surrounded by lake and trees. And I remember myself feeling so liberated, so free, because I was running in between the trees. I was hugging the trees. I was connecting to the trees. It felt so nourishing. I remember one point I was rolling around in the dirt and I was having the dirt like hold me. And if you've never had a mushroom experience, this may sound completely out of there, but if you have, you know that it awakens parts of you that have been dormant. And coming from a household where I had the good girl energy and I was that polite, really nice little girl, I didn't break any rules, I wasn't allowed to be this wild goddess energy. My dad is a perfectionist. Like, we had no mess in our house. We'd have toys all over the place and my dad would just start putting them away. We couldn't be messy. Even to this day, we cannot drop water on our floor at my parents' house, or he'll freak out. And I'm not talking about like the little like, oh my God, I have to clean it up. No, like lose his absolute shit. And so having this experience and coming back to, rolling in the dirt, like, oh my God, this wasn't allowed before. And I'm feeling so free and connected to Mother Gaia. That is that wild calling. So you've had that wild calling. That is why you're here. And we're going to expand that. We're going to awaken that even more. We're going to be talking about things that are going to shift the paradigm that you've been living in, to challenge your belief systems, to give you an alternative, to give you that path to walk that wild motherhood, to give you that path and that support and that community to do what most people are scared to do. Because this path, it is scary. It is scary sometimes. I remember just earlier this month, I received a lot of hate for my choice to not vaccinate my daughter. And in that moment, I felt constrictive. I wanted to just hide, okay, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But it was also an opportunity for me to alchemize and say that, you know what? I am challenging so many of these people's belief systems by my choice to not vaccinate my daughter. Am I going to just submit to the fact that they're living in a different reality than I am, that they're living in a place from fear? Or am I going to continue to spread my message? Because my message has to be shared, because there are moms out there who want to find an alternative and they just don't know where to go. And so this path is asking you to alchemize so many parts of yourself. This path of wild motherhood, of embodying that wild woman and that wild mom archetype, it is asking you to heal your shit, to uncover those limiting beliefs that have been holding you back, that has kept you in that good girl, that people-pleasing energy, that has kept you from trusting your intuition, that belief system that's come from generations past that says I can't receive money without having to work hard, that I will be disowned if I am rich. The list goes on. And these are some of the things that I have found are so important to heal. And this is some of the things that I have done with the moms that I work with in my containers, and the shifts that I've seen in them is just beautiful. And I want to make sure it's showing that my internet might not be working properly, what I really hope it is. This is what happens when you do things live, but we take that risk, right? We're going to go with it because I think it's live. It says live video is still starting, but we're just going to cross our fingers and hope it's live. So I want you to identify what that calling is for you. What's that calling, that longing that you're wanting to escape, wanting to not escape, to release within you? What is that desire that you have upon this wild mom path? And you don't have to start off with a huge long list. Start off with that first thing. Maybe that wild mom path means that you ditch all of your cosmetics and go for natural or vegan products or cruelty-free products. Or maybe you go the DIY route like I have, and I'm making my own deodorant, my chapstick, my face cream, my toothpaste. I'm just going on a DIY ride because that is what I feel called to do. I feel called to embody more of the natural, do it myself, I know what the ingredients are, kind of energy, kind of path, and kind of lifestyle. That is that next wild step for me. So what is that next wild step for you? What is being called to release at this time? And I want to come back to this wolf energy, this wolf pack, because, and as I say this, it's 111. So again, another divine synchronicity that you're meant to be here. This is that path. This is that next step for you. When we think about that wild energy, and take the book, for example, Women Who Run with the Wolves. This is truly about coming back to a pact, a tribe, a community. For too long, we have been told that we have to do it all alone. Mothers are looking, searching, hoping, praying to find a community of other moms of like mind. Why? Because we feel alone, because it's not how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be raising our kids together. We're supposed to be open to, you breastfeed my child, I'll breastfeed your child. Who's hungry? I have a boob available. We don't do it that way. We do it as, that's your life. You have problems. You figure it out with your hubby or your partner. This is my life. These are my problems. I figured it out on my own. And then internally, we're saying, I just want to find someone I can talk to. I want to find someone that I can connect with because I have this problem. I don't know what to do. Half of the problems we have as mothers is because we're doing it alone. And so it's really about coming back to that pact, back to that connection. And that's what this podcast is about. That's what this community is about. It's coming back to your wild tribe, that wolf tribe. And as that wild mother, you are not babying your child. You are guiding them to be the next leader. Think about wolves. They don't baby their kids. They teach them how to hunt and they say, go out and do it. May the odds be ever in your favor. They're teaching them intuition. They're teaching them strength. They're teaching them how to protect themselves. They're teaching them valuable life lessons. But the most important one is they're teaching them to trust themselves. We as humans, in this day and age, in this society, we have seemed to have lost that connection between our spiritual side, our essence, our soul, in the child raising process. It's how they hit the milestones physically, emotionally, and mentally. We forget about the chakra development. We forget about the belief systems that they instill between the ages of 0 and 7. We forget about how trauma can affect them for the rest of their lives. We forget about all these other parts of the human being. And that wild motherhood path, embodying that wild mom archetype, it allows us to come back to that. It reminds us just how important our role is as a mom, just how powerful our intuition is. And when we can parent from love, we can parent like the wolves, then it feels so much easier. Because now we're no longer worried about the rules and the bedtimes and if they made a noise at night, and we're no longer Google moms and living in that fear and feeling that we have to vaccinate or we can't have our kids go to school or they need to socialize and what about germs, and all that fear goes away. Because now we have that unwavering trust in ourselves, our intuition, in the greater mind, whatever you believe in, that everything is working out in the highest and best way. That you can heal your child with energy. You can heal your child with sound. You can heal your child through holistic and natural and toxic-free ways. And that, to me, is so important. That you leave this container, you leave this podcast, you leave this community. Well, hopefully you never leave, but You leave every moment you come here with a greater sense of trust, a greater sense of groundedness, a greater sense of freedom and liberation and empowerment as a mom. If that happens for you, then I've won. My job is done. Because that is my mission here, is to help you to embody that wild mom archetype. Because when you get to that space, it is so much fun. The more and more I am embodying this wild mom archetype and this wild mom energy and lifestyle, the more all of those fears, those worries, those anxieties of motherhood and the rest of my life just somehow just disappears. Now I'm dancing and I'm moving my body and I'm releasing trauma, and everything's a dance. Everything's a ritual. Everything is so divinely synchronistic in my life. And situations where things just don't work out how my ego wants them to, I just release it. And like, come on. Don't we all want to live like that? I can guarantee no one out there is like, nah, I'd rather live through fear. I'd rather be in fight or flight mode all the time. No, we want this. This is what we're all striving for. And it's awakening that wild mom, wild woman archetype that is that path. That path to that utopia of motherhood, of the new earth. So one of the things I want you to ask yourself is, what is blocking you from stepping into this space? What are your fears? What are your worries? What's your disbelief? What story are you telling yourself that is stopping you from just open door, gliding through into this space, into this motherhood journey? Because wherever you are holding on to that story, that belief, that is affecting your ability to truly enter into this space. I've done a lot of work on the chakra system, and I'm obsessed with it, to be honest. And so I really understand how each of them work together, their development. And this is what I taught in the Balancing Baby Chakras, is knowing what impacts each chakra and how it's going to affect your child. And so when it comes to wild mothering, when it comes to embodying that wild woman, wild mom archetype, each of the chakras holds the key, the code that needs to be unlocked, that needs to be mastered in order for you to fully step into that space. The root chakra. The root chakra is all about safety. If you do not feel safe in your very being, if you do not feel safe in speaking your truth and embodying this new energy and the personality that comes along with it and the wardrobe that comes along with it, if you don't feel safe, you will not walk this path. You need to feel safe in your body, in this earth, in your mindset. Your sacral chakra, if there is a block there, if you're holding your story there, then you won't be open and receptive to the wisdom and guidance that flows through you and flows through your womb as a wild woman. Because the more and more you dive deeper into this energy and this archetype of the wild mom, you realize that your womb holds all your wisdom. It's the womb wisdom. So if you're holding on to trauma there, if you're holding on to birth trauma, maybe sexual trauma, if you have irregular periods, there is something there that needs to be released in order for you to be fully open and receptive to the wisdom, to the abundance, to the connection that allows you to embody that wild woman energy, that allows you to attract your tribe to you, that allows you to channel the messages of exactly what your child needs in every single moment, exactly what that next aligned step is for you in order to be that highest and best version of yourself, in order for you to receive everything you want in life. Your solar plexus. You need some balls. You need some confidence in order to do this. Because you are going against the norm. The masses are telling you fear, anxiety, worry. Google medication, vaccines, school, formula. That is what the masses are saying. The masses are telling you to sleep train your daughter or son. I always just think of my daughter. Telling you to sleep train your child. That wild woman is telling you they need to be close to me. They need to be right on the boob, right on the hip, all times. So if you don't have that confidence there, if there is that story being or blocking that energy, how do you expect to take that path less traveled? How do you expect to walk down the wild mom path? Now your heart is your connection. Your heart is what connects your lower 3 chakras, the more earthly, matterly part of you, and the upper 3, the more spiritual, enlightened, connected, divine, energetic you. So if there is a block here, then there is a disconnect between what you channel and what you manifest. This is where I see a lot of my clients experience either too much in the lowers and they can't seem to connect, or too much in the upper chakras and they feel very uneasy. They feel very ungrounded. They can't seem to actually manifest anything, but they receive so many ideas. Because there's that disconnect between the two. The heart chakra is holding on to something there that is blocking that. That's blocking that wild mom energy to come through to be able to channel and manifest, channel and create. Whether it's with your child, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your body, your relationship, it's all the same. Your throat chakra. This is your manifestation portal. This is your power center. If you have not found a way to use your voice, if you are afraid to use your voice, then your voice will be silenced. And maybe your voice was silenced in the past. Maybe that is that story, that you are afraid to speak your truth because of whatever is going to happen to you. And this is what we start working through in my containers as we start diving deeper into those layers. What is within that subconscious and what story you're holding on to? Where are you holding on to it that is stopping you from trusting your intuition, from using energy healing, from connecting to the source energy, to healing your womb, healing your birth trauma? There is some sort of fear, worry, disbelief that is being held in each part of our body. And if it's in our throat chakra, we will be silenced. And this wild mom energy is being called to release. You're being called to express, to be free, to scream, to yell, to sing, to do something to express this new version of you. For myself, it's ecstatic dance. That's how I express, and probably doing this podcast because I love to talk. Doing something like that, life-changing for me. It allows me to truly step into my feminine energy. Step into my feminine energy. It allows me to connect with my womb. It allows me to release trauma. It allows me to just be free. That's why I love ecstatic dance. Something that I'm going to offer in this community and my other containers is just an opportunity for you to really connect with your divine. Now, okay. The third eye chakra is all about trust. And this is so important for doing this work. If we're unable to trust ourselves, how do we expect to receive the messages, the guidance, the wisdom to make changes, to show up for our kids, to connect with them on a deeper level? My daughter and I made the intention and I connected with Creator and I asked, I want to speak telepathically with my daughter. I want to have our connection so strong that because she's not speaking yet, I want to be able to understand her. I want her to be able to understand me on a level that it's deeper than just our words. And let me tell you, the first time this happened, I cried. It was such a beautiful moment. And again, I thought, well, every mom can do this. No ifs, ands, or buts. Every single mom can do this, but they just don't know how. They're afraid to trust themselves. There is some sort of block there. So what is that story that's being held there if you feel that is your biggest block? And the crown chakra is your divine connection. It is that higher power. Okay, it is that higher vision that you have, that no matter what you're going through currently, you know that end goal, you know how to get there, you know, and you have that vision in your mind of the exact wild woman and wild mom you want to be. I have so clearly in my mind how I'm dressing, and even my wardrobe has changed slightly. How I'm moving, how I'm showing up, how I show up for these podcasts and these lives and my containers. I see it so clearly. The practices and the rituals that I do every day. And so because I have that vision, I start to incorporate some of these things in my day-to-day life because I see it in my future. And so it just feels like that's the next aligned step. Well, if that's my future, then I have to start doing it now. But if you don't have that higher vision of what it's like to use energy healing on your kid, I plan on having a homeschooling community, and we focus on intuition for our kids, and I'm going to be trained in certain techniques in order to support their spiritual enlightenment and intuition. Like I see it all. So what is blocking you from actually stepping into that space? What chakra is holding on to those wounds that is telling you, I have to live in fear. I have to follow the norm. I can't fully embody my wild mom archetype. I can't fully step into this wild mom path. And this is why I've created this space. This is why I started this podcast. Because I want to connect us all together to support each other as we step into this role, as we truly embody this highest part of ourselves, that wild woman archetype that is being called, it is screaming to be released. Screaming. This wild mom archetype needs community. Without community, we will fall. I'm a part of, it's called a circular gifting economy. And I've met so many beautiful women and moms, conscious, holistic, natural, witchy moms in this space, that some of them have become true, dear friends of mine. And it wouldn't have been possible if I didn't choose that path less traveled, if I didn't start to awaken my wild mom energy, because that container, that movement is completely against the norm. It is the most feminine way to make money. We are supporting each other financially, emotionally, mentally, physically. We are helping each other to alchemize, to break through limiting beliefs. We are sharing different tips and ideas of how to use herbs and earth medicine and what to do with alternatives instead of vaccinating our kids. Like, we are truly connected. And that's not even tailored towards moms, but again, we just attract the people that we need in our life. And so I want to bring what part of that energy of that circular gifting economy into this space. So we feel that support, we alchemize together, we find ways to come back to our tribe. So welcome to the podcast, the Wild Mom Podcast. Now, the way this podcast is going to work is that we're going to be doing trainings. I'm going to be bringing on guest speakers and healers and light leaders. And because it's all live, you get firsthand interactive experience with myself and these guest speakers. We're going to do open coaching. You can ask questions. We're going to have dialogue back and forth, because I want this to feel like a container, a masterclass of high-level coaching for free. If you have access to the Wild Mom Tribe, which is going to be called now Wild Mom Tribe, then you're going to have access to all these amazing, amazing moms who are doing unbelievable things in the wild mom parenting against the norm aspect. We're going to be talking about everything to do with wild mom parenting. And so I thank you for being here. Unfortunately, my Wi-Fi is not working out too hot, so I don't even know if the video of this is going to be recorded or live, but you're going to have access to the audio version as soon as it's complete, as soon as it's done uploading and everything like that. And if you tune in live, you get first access to all this. You get to be the one who receives that one-on-one coaching for free from high-level coaches, myself and others, healers, light leaders. It's such an amazing experience. And honestly, it should be in a membership. It should be charged, but I'm doing it for free for you as part of a thank you for choosing that path less traveled, for parenting against the norm, for really awakening that divine feminine, because the universe needs to have this balanced out. We need to come back to this core energy, our wild, divine feminine. So until next time, I thank you. I send you so much love, and I'll catch you in the next episode of the Wild Mom Podcast.